Welcome to Victory Tube Podcast, a video game podcast where we talk about, TV shows as well, movies, anime, manga, music, the things we enjoy. As it began many years ago, maybe not that long ago, but
2 years and 8 months to be exact.
we are a video game podcast. I'm Dan, and as always, I'm with Brandon and Chris.
What's up?
Yeah.
So guys, let's say the.
Shall we just rip the band-aid off?
Yeah, the elephant in the room.
All right, he's a fucking big elephant. Right, unfortunately, everyone. First of all, thank you very much for listening to our show. We really do appreciate it. And secondly, this is our final episode, at least for now.
Yeah.
Honestly, you may have read this in the post that I'm maybe typing up now that I put it to social media a couple of weeks prior to this.
That's breaking the fourth wall a bit.
I've gone meta. I've been watching too much Deadpool trailers. So we all feel unanimously that we are struggling to find the time to record and find new things to play because, I stream like full time as well as do a full time job. Dan's busy and he's traveling, and Brandon's doing a PhD as well as, he has a job as well. And we also feel that we have gone through the majority of our most positive memories of gaming, streaming, movies, anime, reading, and we won't lie, we're struggling to think of more and more topics. It was getting more and more niche, and we have taken suggestions from other people, like the best villains, for example. That was a good suggestion, and honestly, it just feels like it's, for now at least, run its course. We're not going to say that we are quitting entirely. We hopefully plan to do the odd episode maybe around the holidays when we've got breaks, so maybe an Easter one. I feel like just having a break, recharging our batteries, and just doing one every now and again will make it more special, and we'll have plenty to talk about and discuss. That's the goal anyway. But for now, we are going to bring you up to speed of what we've been doing the last couple of weeks. Regular episode resume as normal right from now, but we'll also be reminiscing on all the stuff that's come out via during our run as the podcast has gone out. What's come out since July 2021? Was it June?
It was May. Because it
was May when we recorded, wasn't it?
Yeah. Because I always remember, because the 2 weeks, or it was either a week or 2 weeks before we recorded, I broke up with my ex-girlfriend, and the podcast was I always know the meme where it's like, guys don't go to therapy, they start podcasts, and well, there you go. Although I did actually go to therapy. I didn't.
This has saved me tons of money.
Right,
Can you believe, guys, we've been going this long, and somehow, miraculously, we've not missed a single upload day every other Monday, like clockwork.
Yep.
Smashed it.
Yeah. So yeah. But no, as Chris says, it'll be a mostly same old episode. Who wants to start?
Shall we kick off with one last Souls-like to talk about?
Let's seeing as that's what we've been playing since the dawn of time.
Yes, so me and Brandon have been playing a game which came to PlayStation Plus a couple of weeks ago, which is one I have in my arm for a while, but I've never seen a price drop. And then I seen it go on sale last month, and I nearly bought it, but I'm glad I didn't, because it came to PS Plus, so that was handy. And that game is Steel Rising, where you play as a French robot in France, beating up other French robots. It's very French.
It's very French with English-French sentences. Like, they'll be saying a sentence and every other word is French, and it's just like, they wouldn't really do this. But yeah. So Steel Rising, if the way I would probably describe it is a less polished version of Lies of P, but that's literally
it's far less polished version.
Yes, so less polished. Graphically, it's not too bad. Like, the textures and everything seem quite nice in it. The ambience itself seems all right, but there's quite a lot of things which pull it back down to earth, basically. With some of the elephant in the rooms, as I was speaking to Chris just before we start the podcast, I wouldn't say this is necessarily a bad thing, but for people who are used to Souls-likes, it is very punishing, and that's the stamina system. What was your thoughts of the stamina system when you first sort of got into it, Chris.
Oh, jumping straight into that then. All right. So the stamina system, I actually quite like how it works. Your stamina does drain rather quickly, but there's essentially a timing mini game. If you press triangle before it completely dissipates, you can regenerate all your stamina back immediately. But if you do that, you build up like a sort of a frost meter, and if you do it multiple times, your character will like completely freeze in place and be susceptible to all kinds of manner of attacks. You don't want that, but there are modules you can install to negate that. And I tell you what, some of the modules in this game, which are kind of like rings from like Dark Souls, some of them was outright broken. In fact, they're pretty much the entirety of the combat's completely broken.
Yeah,
the game doesn't give a shit. Any build you go for negates pretty much any combat challenge you will have in this game.
It honestly, I like how, again, I really do like the combat system in it. I mean, the movement itself, the attack patterns feel quite slow, and it's like very easy for your attacks to basically get disrupted. But at the same time, like all the weapons feel somewhat unique and all the weapons feel nice. Like you've got your main attacks, your strong attacks, your special attacks with each weapon. They all feel quite nice. But yeah, another elephant in the room is just how freaking broken the combat system is. Like you just move so fast, obviously, and you could just all your stamina managing you're doing on. But you will probably find that a lot of the bosses are not difficult at all. Like in general, the mobs are probably harder than what the bosses are.
Oh, by far. I don't think apart from the first boss when I was getting to get to the game, I think every single boss is a first try, and it wasn't even close. It wasn't like I was running close out of healing items. So there's two reasons for this. That spring to mind. So the first one is you essentially can get healing items in this game which are akin to life gems from Dark Souls 2. So, consumable ones. But these are dropped so frequently, and they work on a percentage of your health over like a course of 20 seconds, which always equals like a full heal. So it doesn't matter how much HP you have, they scale up. So, and you can carry unlimited of these. Like I had over 99 in my inventory, and I know that because when I healed, it didn't go down at all. It still said 99. It's like, oh, okay, now I think I'm fine. The other reason is for how some of the combat techniques work. So, for example, freeze is completely overpowered. It can happen to your character. You can do it to the enemies as well. I didn't do that build, but I did do one where I mostly use these sort of claw weapons I found, which are like very fast hitting, and build up what's called immobility, which is basically stun. And it builds it super fast. You can get a module which builds it up even faster. So basically, I only had to hit an enemy about 3 or 4 times, and it fell over, so you can critically hit it. And when you do that, they fall on their ass, including bosses. And when they're down on the floor, you can still hit them and just build up the meter again.
Yeah, there's
and
no
just
like I
win every fight.
Yeah.
Once you've done that, it's like this game's like over now.
And one thing which also helps is the bosses in general move so slow. You've got
They do.
so much time to dodge and think what your next got to do. And their attack patterns are pretty much just 3 or 4 moves. There's nothing spicy about them at all.
Every boss, and I mean every boss, just go to their arse and hit them. Just stay behind them, and you won't lose. I promise you. It's very rare you get hit. I mean, they telegraph their attack so much. You know when they're going to do an AoE. They see you can jump. And that's another thing. This game has like jumping. Like you can traverse a bit through going through platforms, and there's like a sort of grappling hook as well you can get for the game. In fact, there was a sort of a Metroidvania feel to this because the levels are like split up. Like you've got like a world map, and you go to like area and area. So each one's like its own sandbox. And there are things that you can like. It's essentially different barriers in your way, like walls that you can break down later, grappling hooks as mentioned, and there's air dashing as well. And you'll think to yourself, oh wow, all these different places, I've seen so many of these, I've got to try and remember where you need to go to. Except you don't really, because for the most part, all the items you pick up are just more consumables, which are pretty pointless. It's like, oh good, more throwing grenades. I've got about 8 trillion of those. And secondly, if you do the side quests, of which there are numerous, you will end up going back to all of them anyway. I don't think there's any area that I committed to memory that I didn't end up going back to. Sometimes I just unlocked them and got there was fuck all there, and I went, yeah, I'm going to be coming back here later, aren't I? And yes, I was. So really, you don't need to backtrack unless you get the side quest. Just leave it till you get the side quest and then just do it.
Yeah, one thing I was going to ask you as well, Chris. So when you go into PS Plus and you look at the ratings for Steel Rising, you see it's very, very skewed. You have like 30% of people give it like a 5-star rating. A good part of 40% of people have given it a 1-star rating, and they're like a mix of in betweens. Do you feel like the game warrants a 1-star rating, or it's all right, isn't it?
I would rate it probably about 3 out of 5, if I'm brutally honest.
Yeah,
I did enjoy it.
I
probably enjoyed it more at the beginning until, as I mentioned, like that completely broke the combat, and then it just became it's probably more tedious because you just know it's like, oh, run here, run there, run back. Especially if you're doing the side quests, there's so much backtracking. Like you go to the same areas like time and time again, and nothing changes apart from just trying to get through these doors. And then the other major gripe I had with it is the enemy variety is so low. You will see pretty much every enemy the game has to throw at you in like the first 6 hours, maybe. And after that, you'll just have like the same enemies, but like a slight reskin for like different elements. So you'll see like a soldier with like, I don't know, a lightning spear. And then later on, you'll see ones with fire spears or ice spears, but it's the same model. That's it.
Yeah, I saw that it was on PS Plus, and I saw the low score, and that was one of the reasons why I didn't download it. I was like, yeah, that doesn't hold me with much confidence that it's going to be a good game. But surprised, like, despite all its flaws, so the sounds of it, you've had fun with it.
Yeah, it's one of these Soulsborne games Souls-like games where you play it, but it's not necessarily one which you might want to revisit. You know, like all the other Souls-likes we've played, like Lies of P is just one of those ones you will probably quite happily go back and revisit. Say for like Code Vein, you probably want to go revisit. Still Rising, it seems like you play it once and you get your fix, and you know that's all there is to it. For me, I don't know if you feel the same way, Chris.
Yeah, I can't even see myself streaming this, to be honest. It's again, it's fine at the beginning, and then you start getting side quests and that, and it feels like major padding, and it's not even that long a game anyway. Overall, I think it took me about first playthrough about 20 hours, give or take. And I'll tell you what, the lack of polish in the penultimate level, I had to turn off the game and restart twice.
Why?
Because game breaking glitches.
Oh,
so one I went through a door and the rest of the area just did not load in. All you could see was like the skybox and no level. I was like, oh, okay, that's a reset. And then the same level. Bit further on, there's a bit where you have to jump down. I jumped down and my character got stuck on the rock and did the whole sort of T-pose in the air with like the one leg up, like spinning on the spot.
Oh.
And I couldn't move them. They were just stuck there indefinitely. That's another reset. It started to, like, and they were like within like 20 minutes of each other. So I genuinely thought at one point, am I not going to be able to beat this game? Is this level just bugged up the arse? Like, because that's twice now, and I'm starting to get concerned. Thankfully, it didn't happen again, but that feels like quite a major problem, especially just going through the door and like the rest of the level just doesn't load. It's not like I'm doing anything wrong. I'm just going exactly where the game wants me to, and it's like, oh, that's bad. But again, I had fun with it. I think though it's just a genre of games because, you know, we like Dark Souls, and I think it's just that inherent gameplay loop. We just like it.
Yeah,
if you just make a game like that,
parts.
we're willing to overlook a bit of lack of polish. But this game was riding the line a bit. Again, fine to start with. Strong start. Peters off towards the end, massively so. And honestly, the cutscenes, they go on for fucking ages if you let them out. I just ended up skipping most of the dialogue because I really didn't give a shit. I could feel the end was on the horizon. I was just like, let's just finish this goddamn game now. I'm glad I didn't pay for it, but it's well. Certainly glad I didn't pay like 30, 40 quid for it. Bloody hell. So, but yeah, you can do worse. I've played Hellpoint. That was actually probably on par now I think about it. It's been a while since I played Hellpoint. That's another Souls-like, which is janky as fuck.
Oh, you play Bugsy 3D, so you can play anything.
This is true.
I'll never let you live that down.
I think neither of us.
You don't have to. It haunts me every day.
What else have you been consuming, Brandon?
Well, so last episode I mentioned that I was watching Full Metal Panic, and I said it's literally about a guy is told to save girl and has to keep saving said girl.
It came up on my anime list. Your score for it actually came up, so I know vaguely how you feel about this.
Yeah, so just to fill in like a bit of the gaps. So it is an anime that came out in the year 2002, so it's 22 years old, and you can tell it's one of those early 2000s animes by the art style. Bear in mind, the art style, I've got no problems with the art style at all. The things which I have the issues with, it just feels like the whole anime is just the same thing over and over again. Like, try to save girl, You've got Gowron, he starts off as basically just some sort of hired assassin, but then he turns into like the main sort of almost like an overlord enemy. But it was outright he was just an assassin. And then as it went on, he then hijacks a submarine, which the majority of the thing's based on. Then you've got this bullshit power of, oh, let's whisper to each other and he won't be able to hear anything. And somehow he goes from this villain who is actually combat very gifted to a point where he's holding everyone hostage. And for some reason, one of the main characters basically points a gun at him and fires, and he acts shocked. And I was like, oh, come on, you're someone who's like very combat gifted. Why are you shocked that someone managed to stand up and fire a gun at you? And how did that make you panic? Ending for me felt quite anticlimactic. It didn't really feel like a lot of development was happening. It feels like a lot of relationships happen too fast as well. So like literally in like the first couple episodes, it's like, oh, they've just met and like she's already speaking about feelings and stuff and like blushing and everything. I was like, okay, well, kind of, useless. Also, you'll probably know this trope as well, Dan. You know when characters go into like some sort of ethereal world where their mind is now disconnected from their body?
Yep.
Like, it's always the same shots of them naked, but with nothing showing, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
It's literally just that for about a good few minutes of the main girl just basically in this ethereal world whispering to everyone because she's got a talent called Whispered, which means she knows everything and can actually tell other people. So think of it like the ultimate spy or whatever. So she's basically now in this ethereal world driving the submarine called Dana, or instructing the submarine on how to overcome this hijacking from Gowron. But it just feels like it felt like that early 2000s anime mecha. Yeah, it just seemed I wouldn't say it was shit. Like it wasn't like just outright, oh, I couldn't watch it. It was boring. I kept falling asleep after watching a couple episodes. Like it took me a lot longer to watch than what I thought it would. Hence, I just gave it a 5. I was just like, it's average. It's not bad. I mean, I'm enjoying it, but it's not bad. But is it something that I'd recommend people to watch?
No, I don't think so.
I'll say yes.
Oh, okay.
For the reason being is I know that there's not that many early 2000s anime that a lot of people really know about. Usually people, when they think of early 2000s or that sort of era, they might think of, Samurai Champloo or, Rurouni Kenshin, those sorts of early 2000s anime or borderline.
I haven't seen either of them.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like if you're wanting to, like nowadays, we've got so many anime releasing from like 2010 onwards. Like it's very easy to just pick one and be like, okay, I'll pick one from this year. I'll pick one from this year. It's very, very easy to do that. But when you get I'd say pre-2008, maybe 2006 at a push, it gets a bit harder to try and find anime to watch from sort of eras, if you know what I mean.
The thing with that mainly is not because there isn't. It's kind of, unless you use use shady sites, the actual stuff like Netflix, Funimation, well, not Funimation anymore because it's dying in like a month. Crunchyroll or Amazon or even Disney Plus, like any of the big streaming services, they don't really have many old anime. Like, and I don't know why, but that's the thing. Like, for example, if you wanted to rewatch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, how would you go about that? You would find a shady website and watch it on that. But it's not on anything.
Part of me thinks it's probably because the licensing for Full Metal Alchemist is maybe too expensive.
Maybe.
Because of just how... I think that's it for Full Metal Alchemist.
But
for some of the older ones, I think it's just... They know no one's going to watch it, so they're not going to pay for the license to show it, basically.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Full Metal
frustrating.
Panic is on Crunchyroll, so that's why I watched it on there.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think Crunchyroll, now that Crunchyroll and Funimation have merged, like the anime library is pretty decent and it's very, very affordable.
It is.
Like when Crunchyroll first announced the merger with Funimation and they dropped their membership by £1 a month, I was just like, that's like, congratulations, Crunchyroll. That's freaking like no other streaming service would do that.
And that's the good thing with like Netflix. It has, except for one, it has all the Ghibli films. And so the only one it doesn't have is Grave of the Fireflies. But other than that, you can watch near enough all of them. Although Grave of the Fireflies is still one of the best Ghibli films. So
yeah, I loved it. I love that one.
And it's got like all of Ava except for the rebuild of Ava, which is all on Amazon. Yeah, I don't know. That's the only downside with you can't get like a certain like 2010 onwards. Pretty much near enough every anime you can think of is on a streaming website, streaming services of some sort. Oh well.
Yeah, so if you want to just discover like an anime from the early 2000s, just watch Full Metal Panic. It's all right. It's not amazing, but it's all right.
Chris.
And Dan will know this. It's not often that I rate something that low on Mal. Just saying.
Yes, that is true. Chris, you finally watched the Marvels.
I have finally watched the Marvels. Yeah, I watched it with my folks the other day, just on the spur of the moment. I got home from work late, so I didn't really have time to do anything, and I knew it was only like an hour and 40 minutes. So as soon as I wandered in, they were like, "Hey, do you want to watch it?" It's like, "Yeah, sure. I've got to watch it at some point." Whoa!
Yep.
But this is a movie.
Yep.
I didn't want to dislike it because I know everyone else seems to, and I like Quantum Mania and other films that I know other people don't really care for that much. Yeah, this one's not good, is it? It's just not.
What's up with that?
It's not.
It's not good.
Like,
Where do we start? Go on, Dan.
all I'm saying is I wasted money to go see it in the cinema. That's all I'm going to say.
I saw it for free and still feel shortchanged. So I'll disclose that I did watch Miss Marvel not so long back and didn't really rate that either. I don't think the actress does a bad job, per se. She looks like she's enjoying herself and she's, entertaining enough, but it's not a demographic that's for me. And oh boy, this film. So there's no great action set pieces at all. Some of the dialogue is just straight up not good. There was one bit where me and my folks just completely rolled our eyes.
I know.
You know the bit?
Yep, because I did that exactly the same.
It's the singing planet, isn't it?
Yep.
Yep. So what the hell are you trying to do, Marvel? You're trying to annoy people.
Yep.
So it doesn't need to be there. Why is it there? At that point, I was rooting for the villain, whoever the hell she was. It's like, I'm one of the Kree. I've not been in any other film, but I'm going to pretend that we have a backstory. Okay, who are you again? Yeah. Nick Fury had a few good lines. He made me laugh a couple of times. He had like 3 good lines in it. That's it. That's what I can really say. The mechanic of them swapping bodies is not good. It seems really temperamental when it works. It's like, oh, we swap every time we use our powers. Except when we use our powers when it's convenient for the plot, then it doesn't happen.
Yep.
Which, that's just stupid. Either commit to the bit or just don't bother.
Well,
It really is just like a thing to like stop them from completely overpowering the baddie. It's like you're Miss Marvel. You can like power the sun and like go through like a battleship without breaking a sweat. And this small lady with a hammer is too much, apparently.
Well, essentially, I think they said it was when all 3 of them used their powers at the same time, but it still was like...
Except when they didn't.
Yeah.
Except when it was just the 2 of them.
Yeah, it was still like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, to be fair, despite all the negativity, I did kind of like all 3 of them hanging out together. I thought that was actually quite a good thing about it. But then...
Yeah, they do work well together.
But then everything else...
Yeah, there's everything else. There's a couple of good lines, but not a good script.
It was like...
I like the bit where both of them fly off and Miss Marvel's just there like, I can't fly.
It's like on the space station, Nick Fury's just hanging out with Miss Marvel's family, and I'm like, what? One, why are they on the space station? And then why are they hanging out with Nick Fury? And then obviously at the end, where they're landing on Earth, why are they helping Nick Fury with all the cats? It was just like, what? It makes no sense.
Yeah, the whole bit with the Flargons bit was silly as well. They basically put like cats all over the marketing because people like cats. It's like, please watch our film. It's got cats in it. Although, if there's one good action scene in this film, it's when they're fighting the 2 random guards in Miss Marvel's living room. That was probably the best bit. That was a little bit creative. This film's just not good. I can't even recommend it. I can't even recommend checking it out just out of morbid curiosity. It's just not good. I don't think anything in this film is going to be referenced at any point in any other film. There is the post-credit scene, but I think that's going to be swept under the rug with the events of like Deadpool that's coming up.
I forgot what. Oh yeah. I just remember what it is. Yep. I don't know. Like...
You know what would have made the end credits worth it? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna go slightly into spoilers now, but it's been out for a little while. So the ending spoiler bits is Monica Rambeau saves the day and gets teleported to a different dimension. When she wakes up, she's being monitored by Beast from X-Men. You think, okay, I see what you're doing. You know what would have been better if they went to a different universe, and this would have been far, far fucking better if she woke up and it was Batman or Superman there. She'd been transported to the DC universe. That would have been infinitely better. No way it could have got away with it. But if you're gonna commit, go all out.
Yeah, like it's just, I just, as I say, I just think back to it. Like I watched it on my last day of my last job when I left. I was like, I've got a few days before I start my new job. I'll go see the Marvels. I heard, mixed things, and I sat there in the cinema on my own, just like, what am I doing? And just, as you say, rolled my eyes at the song Planet, and I was just like, I should have just stayed at home. Like this was not worth paying money for. Yeah. Oh well, I've been there, done that.
I suppose it's the only way you find out whether something's good is you just got to experience it.
Exactly. At least, so I got the new Demon Slayer film next week, a week today, and then I've got Dune 2 in about 2 weeks. So at least I've got some good films to see coming up. Hopefully, good films.
Well, we know Demon Slayer is going to be all right, at least.
Well, I've already watched half of it because it's just half of it's the last episode of season 3, and that was a good episode. Even if season 3 has its problems, that was still a good episode.
Yeah, like when Nezuko
speaks,
like that was a golden moment. Like that was lovely.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Dune 2, but I think I need to rewatch the first film. And I think it's still what I remember when you watched it, Chris. I think this is going to be this is the film that will sell me on Dune Part 1 more, because I think it's what I said. Dune Part 1 is, because it's a Part 1 film, it's just building up to everything in Part 2. It's the same with like Deathly Hallows for Harry Potter. It's the first half is just building everything up film wise. So that's why like hardly anything happens, and then it all happens in Part 2. It's like, well, yeah, because that's the fucking payoff. That's the problem with all these Part 1 and Part 2 films. You have one where it's just build up, and the second half is where it all fucking happens.
There's very few films that don't do that. I mean,
I know.
At least like Infinity War, that had plenty of action in it. That didn't feel like that.
No, Infinity War and Endgame didn't, but I think the thing is with Infinity War, you had how many films?
You do literally have like 30 films beforehand.
So it's a bit like, well, that doesn't really count.
Yeah, I suppose. I've seen that Dune 2 has apparently got good write-ups so far.
It seems like it. I don't know, where's Part 1? Like, where can you watch Part 1? Isn't it on like Amazon or something? I know it's on.
It was on Amazon Prime because that's what I watched it on.
Yeah,
at least it was. I don't know if it is now.
I'm literally going to check right now. But I'm definitely going to rewatch that either the day or I don't think I have time the day before, but that week I'm definitely going to rewatch Doom Part 1 before I see Part 2.
I like Doom Part 1, but I do feel like the climax is in the wrong place.
Yeah.
It feels like the climax is in the middle of the film, and then it just carries on for another half hour.
You see, that's what I always felt weird with it. Oh yeah, it is on here, but it's stupid buy to rent. Oh great.
Yeah, that sucks.
I hate it. Can I just have a little moan about the buy to rent stuff on Amazon Prime?
Oh yeah, please.
By all means.
We subscribe to Amazon Prime for a reason. So can you please just stop showing that you've got this stuff available on Prime if you're having to say, oh, you have to buy even more of it. You know, it's like subscribing to something, you have to pay like a premium subscription to be able to watch something. And even then, you only have limited access to it anyway. But yeah. Fuck you, Prime. Yeah. All right, let's move on.
And fuck you for putting adverts into it recently as well.
Yes.
Oh, great.
Stupid bastards.
The other thing I don't like about Prime is that it will be like, this is on Prime, and then you go on and it's like, oh, not available. And it's like, well, why are you still advertising it? Or why do you still have something on it saying it's there, but it's not? Because I wanted to watch the anime film Metropolis, and it says it's on Amazon Prime. It's not. It's not been on there for like many years. So I don't understand why it says it's on there when it's actually not. It's annoying.
Because you can still buy it, you see, and they can still say it's on Prime because you use Prime to download it. The fucking scummy loophole.
They've got the same problem on Game Pass as well. There's a couple games on Xbox which I really want to play. It's like you go through like the Xbox 360 games and it says, "Oh, Enchanted Arms," and it's just like, "Oh." Then it's rather than just telling you like the price and whether it's free or not, it just says currently unavailable. And I'm just like, well, if it's currently unavailable, why are you still showing it's there? And will you actually tell me that it's going to be available? Yeah, I'm an angry person.
Not really. I've known you both for 10 years. You're not an angry person.
Yeah, just stupid things like that just annoy me. It's like the amount of times that I go onto Xbox, I'm like, oh, is this game now available? No, okay.
I think it's the same for all of us.
Tease you.
There's certain things where I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake, and it just pisses off. Like Bobby Kotick.
Yes.
Right, Chris.
Chris is just
I hate him more than the Marvels. 73 episodes and I still won't let it, man.
Well, I haven't gamed. Well, no, I've gamed on like the usual stuff, like my Bloons Tower Defense 6 and the odd little bit of Pokemon, but nothing of worthy of note. The one big thing I've been doing, because in 4 weeks' time, I'm going on a 2.5-week trip to Japan for my 30th birthday, and I wanted to finish reading all of Berserk before I flew. And when I realised that this was going to be probably our last episode, or last episode being like regular releases, I was like, you know what? Fuck anything else. I'm just going to binge read Berserk. And literally 10 minutes before we started recording, I finished reading Berserk. Well, I say finished. There is the extra there's still like 10 more chapters, but the chapters that have been released after Kentaro Miura passed away, so they're not the chapters he's written. But all the chapters he wrote, I have finished. I have finished volume 41. As I said, 10 minutes before we started recording, and I literally went through how many volumes did I go through today? I started on 36 this morning. I went through 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. So I read 6 Berserk volumes this morning.
That's because, I mean, a chunky manga usually takes between 40 minutes to an hour to read, doesn't it? If you properly take the time and observe everything, don't they?
Oh, yeah. And
so you spent a good 6 hours just reading Berserk.
That's literally all I've done today. Just read Berserk. I don't care. It's been fucking amazing. What to say about Berserk that hasn't already been said by many people on the internet? Probably not much. It's, as everyone says, it's a masterpiece. Like, I know those last couple of volumes I was tearing up. Like, there's a big moment with one of the female characters, and I was just tearing up over it. Like, I knew like a lot, like the end of it, the last couple of volumes, it was all spoilt for me, but just experiencing it, I was still so emotional. It's like just one of the best stories ever written. Like, it's probably top 3 stories of all time for me. It's such a beautiful manga. The amount of times I've just stopped and just stared at the pages and just admired all the artwork, even like the smallest panels. There's so much to admire. It's why, as I literally said to some of my friends the other weekend, I was like, my favourite 2 mangas are Berserk and One Piece, and kind of for similar reasons, because they're so detailed, but they're also the detail in both of them is like drastically different. Whereas Kentaro Miura's Berserk, it's just such a detailed world in the way he draws it. Whereas like Oda, who writes One Piece, he just crams so much in. There's just so many like Easter eggs and little things that you notice, and yeah, like I don't know really what new to say about Berserk. Really, it's just such a incredible series. I would say if you want to read manga, it's definitely a must read. I wouldn't say it's for everyone, because especially with the middle volumes, the Conviction arc, there is a lot of extreme scenes. I will say that.
Raging horse.
Yep, that was a bad time to read that on a train. That's the most graphic it does get, to be fair. There's a lot of nudity throughout the whole series, because there's the last person to join Guts's party, she can transform into a mermaid, and when she becomes a mermaid, obviously because she's a mermaid, she's just topless. And it's like, all right, there you go. There's another character who's naked, and yeah, every character, good or bad, there's something to like about them. The 3 main characters, Guts, Griffith and Casca, there's so much to like about all of them, and even like everything that happens with all 3. There's so much to unpack, and there's a lot I don't want to say because I don't want to spoil anything, but it's such a complex story and such a and it's so incredible. Yeah, it's not technically finished because obviously the author Kentaro Miura passed away, but where it ends, it doesn't matter. Like, in some ways, it kind of feels like it's got all the messages it needs to deliver are delivered satisfyingly. It's utterly fantastic. One of my favorite volumes of the manga is volume 34. That was a breathtaking manga, to put it lightly. It's quite far near the end because there's 41 volumes, but volume 34 was definitely a highlight, as well as volume 9. That's a good volume, but with two of my favourite chapters, that the most recent anime actually did that whole 2 chapters in its entirety. They made a whole episode designated to those two chapters, and it was absolutely incredible. Yeah. Berserk's a masterpiece. If you like reading manga, like, read it. It is a hard 18. Like, there's a lot of graphic stuff. Don't read especially the Conviction arc in public, because if you do, enjoy Guts and Casca's and Griffith's journey. It's a wonderful read, if hard at times to deal with what is actually been drawn.
When did it first start serializing again?
1988. I might be wrong on that, but it's like around 1990. Guts is the primary, like one of the most influential characters in fantasy. Like, Cloud Strife would not exist without Berserk. Just like end of, like, without Berserk.
That's a great sword and everything.
Yeah. Dark Souls, like, everything From Software's done since Demon Souls, including Demon Souls, would not exist without Berserk. Like, why we're called Victory Achieved, those, like, without Berserk, that does not exist. Like, Berserk is incredible. Like, there's nothing. I have a Berserk tattoo because it's that great. Like, I actually got it before I finished. Well, as I've just said, I finished it today. But do I regret getting it before finishing it? No. I literally messaged my mate the other day and said, I'm going to get a second Berserk tattoo because Berserk is that good.
What would you get off? Do you know?
No idea. I don't know what I would get, but I'd probably maybe get it near my current Berserk tattoo. Well, I've already got the Brand of Sacrifice and the Dragon Slayer sword, so I don't need that on again. I don't need that. I don't know what I would get, but no. What I did find quite funny is in the later couple of volumes, there were a few Star Wars references, which was quite funny. And Kentaro Mura, there's an elf character, and he'd written the elf, or I say elf, he looks more like a fairy, but with, like, Jar Jar, there's a picture with him with Jar Jar Binks' head, stormtrooper helmets, and Darth Vader's helmet. It was quite funny. And he goes Padawan. It was quite funny. Despite how dark it is, there's enough humour to carry it through. And Guts' travelling party, a great cast of characters. Yeah, there are more chapters that I still got to read, but they were released after Kentaro Mura passed away. Yeah, funny enough, he actually passed away just as we started the podcast as well. Yeah, Berserk, incredible masterpiece. Yeah.
I look forward to taking it off your hands to read it.
Yeah, I'll let you borrow it, definitely. All I say is my volume 17's fucked. But
what's happened to it?
It was bound wrong. I need to buy it again because it's been bound wrong. You'll notice when you read it, because he returned Guts. Guts returns to the blacksmith, and he goes in a cave, and then suddenly he leaves the blacksmith, and then you carry on, and it's like the blacksmith sorting the sword, and then all the stuff in the cave, you're like, what the fuck is going on? And so the 2 chapters have been bound wrong, which is really annoying, but oh well. I pieced it all together, but it's still annoying. That's the only volume that's fucked for me, which is annoying. I've never had that before.
In terms of content, how much was missing?
Oh, nothing was missing. It was all there. It was just 2 chapters were bound wrong.
Oh, back to back instead of, okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. They must have just been bound wrong. It's annoying.
Maybe they were too busy, putting maybe English reading books together, where chapters, we read left to right. Maybe maybe they've just got it wrong.
I don't know.
I'm trying to come up with a good excuse for him. Right, there's only so much coping I can give him. Anyway, you said you've been reading manga. I've also been reading manga. For about the past 2 weeks, I've been reading Promised Neverland, and I did say that I'm very disappointed that so season 1, Promised Neverland, amazing. Season 2, Promised Neverland, got absolutely royally fucked. And the ending of Promised Neverland season 2 is one of the worst endings I've ever seen in any anime ever. It's literally like a 13-minute PowerPoint slide. You're planning on reading it, aren't you, Dan?
At some point. I don't know when.
Right. So in which case, I won't go too much into spoilers for you. But essentially, the ending of season 1, Promised Neverland, is roughly about chapter 37-ish in the manga. And there's 180 chapters. chapters. So if you were to string it out, theoretically, you should have about 3 or maybe 4 seasons of Promised Neverland, and they sort of terminated it there and then. The season after, or the arc straight after they escape from a Gracefield house, the Goldie Pond arc was really, really cool. So yeah, like that was definitely like, I wish that got animated, because that could have been such an amazing watch. And then you had like the string after Goldie arc where they actually met more people. The ending of Promised Neverland probably felt a bit like it was going on, like a tiny bit, and the very ending was quite sentimental as well, which is kind of nice. You know, in animes, you've even in video games and other movies, you've probably been victim to this. You know, when you watch an anime or any sort of show and you can sort of predict what the ending's going to be.
Yep.
Like they sort of tell it, like they sort of do it. So obviously, what sometimes shows will do is basically do like a U-turn. They'll probably be like, "Oh, everything's gonna be fine." Oh no, it's not fine. What Promised Neverland does, it's not a U-turn or an S-turn. It's probably something like an M-turn, okay? And the reason I'm going to describe it that way, so you know Promised Neverland's coming to an end. They're like, okay, we're all going to escape. And then they're like, oh, if you want to escape, you have to give me this. You have to sacrifice this. And you're just like, oh, okay, now they're not going to go to the end. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, but no, I don't need to do that. So now you're back in the rise, like, oh, everyone's going to be fine. And everything's like, oh, no, we've got to give something up again. Like, that's sort of an M-turn. That was... It was kind of funny that it did that, because I thought, I had that mini sort of roller coaster of emotions at the end of Promised Neverland. What I will probably say as well about Promised Neverland, so I've not read too many mangas, but I will probably say it is in my top 5. So I can't remember off the top of my head how many I've read, but if I was to like sort of pick my top 5 in no particular order, it will be, just looking at my cupboard now, Attack on Titan is obviously up there, JoJo's up there. I'll put a stick in Promised Neverland. I did like the manga from Ashley, but obviously now that it's been animated, the anime is also just as amazing. But yeah, please check out Promised Neverland. If you got really disappointed with how they animated it in season 2, like all the people were screaming that they and rightly so, for how shit the rating is on Mal for it, rightly so. Don't bother watching season 2. Watch season 1 of Promised Neverland and then just read from chapter 37 onwards. Like you'll thank me later for it, basically.
I've watched season 1. I haven't watched a season 1 that fast in like since I was like 15, when I started getting into anime. Like I watched season 1 of Promised Neverland in a space of like a few days, because it was that good. And then because you said season 2 was that bad, I didn't ever watched it, but then it wasn't on Crunchyroll at the time either, so that helped. So, but I've just been like, nah, I'm not gonna read it. I'm not gonna watch season 2. But yeah, like season 1, I think I gave it like a 9 out of 10 on Mao. It's so good. Although I've seen a bit, like the only gripe I've seen is that maybe the kids are a bit too clever for their age, and maybe that is a bit right. But hey ho, it's still a great watch. It's just like this cat and mouse situation. It's great.
Yeah, a lot of things happen later on, which is kind of like, when you read like a series and the main characters feel invincible, it's not a great feeling. But when main characters for plot feel vulnerable, that's when a read becomes quite exciting, because you feel like, oh, okay, shit, something's going to happen. Promised Neverland, the majority of the time felt like, okay, yeah, there's nothing bad's going to happen to the main characters. Like you feel quite safe. But every now and then you'll get a moment where it's like, oh shit, what's going to happen? Which is, yeah, keeps you on your edge. But yeah, power of friendship prevails, basically, to put it bluntly.
Chris, do you have anything else to mention?
I'm excited for Deadpool and Fantastic Four with Pedro Pascal at some point. Nothing anime related, I'm afraid. I still haven't watched any.
I know that. I'll be honest, I was a bit underwhelmed by the Deadpool 3 trailer, personally.
I'm intrigued to see where it's going. I kind of want it to be the linchpin film that sort of unites everything Marvel. Because it makes it look like it's down to Deadpool to save the MCU from IRL, because it's floundering, because they release films like the Marvels.
Yeah.
Now they need to put them up by the bootstraps and give it a kick up the arse and go, let's make it good again.
I'm sure it'd be good. I don't know. It just felt a bit. I think I was like, oh, the trailer's out, and I was a bit underwhelmed by it. But it's a first trailer, and I'm sure both Deadpool films are good. I prefer the first to the second, but they're both good.
Oh, the kind of films they are, they're that meta, you have no idea what direction they're going to go
exactly.
in. Especially from a trailer.
Exactly.
And the original trailer for the first Deadpool is like him just beating up a bunch of people in a car.
Yeah, you know,
Not when I went.
it'll be good either way. Like I'm not worried about it. It's just I think it. I don't know if it was when I thought of what it would be that I think the trailer wasn't what I expected, which is, you know, probably kind of a good thing in some ways. But I think also I was like, okay, we'll see. But as I said, we'll see.
I was like we've talked about Marvel a lot on the show over the years, so it feels nice to sort of bookend it with me saying I'm feeling hopeful for it.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be fun. Like, we just look at the prior to Deadpool films, it'll be good. Like, yeah.
I'm sure the charisma alone will just carry it.
Exactly.
It's just him and Hugh Jackman just hating each other and loving each other at the same time. Proper bromance.
Exactly.
Before we move on to our final topic for the entire series, well,
Podcast.
for now at least, anyway. For now at least. So any other media you want to get off your chest? Now's your chance.
I'm just seeing what else I've done. Nope, I'm empty.
I'm watching the new Studio Trigger anime. It's called Delicious in Dungeon. It's on Netflix. It's good fun.
Thank you for your insight, Dan.
It
is fun.
It is good fun. It's only been like 6 or 7 episodes. It's not done yet as of time of recording. I don't know what else. There's a great. I really enjoy the new Beings in Ocean album that came out the other month. That's a great album. I don't know what else. I don't know.
All right. Okay. So before we wrap up this show for now, there's 2 things I want to discuss. Firstly, I want to quickly break down between the 3 of us what's like the best and worst media we've indulged in over the course of this run. So what's released since May 2021, and then just our closing thoughts. What we're going to move on to with our personal lives. What's the plan? So I think we'll do that last. So who wants to go first? Shall we just do this in the order I've got on my list? So,
sure.
What's been the best game, like the absolute tip-top best game that's released since May 2021?
Elden Ring. Oh, sorry, had a bit of a cough. Elden Ring.
Shredder's Revenge, you say? Oh, yes, that was rather good. Yeah, it's Elden Ring, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Although I've actually put on my list Lies of P because I think I enjoyed that ever so slightly more.
Really? I mean, Lies of P is definitely second. It's definitely second on my list.
For me, it's either Elden Ring or Tears of the Kingdom, just because I put so many hours into both games. Probably more into Tears of the Kingdom, but I love both games. You know, they're both fantastic. We played so many great games, like, over the course of our time. Like, you know, I think last year was a great year for games in general.
Oh, it was.
Like, even just thinking about, like, Pikmin, like, even just my top 5 from last year were just so fucking solid. I'm just like, these 5 games are just, like, they're just so good.
I can't even get it down into the top 5. I've struggled with top 10.
I know.
Oh, well, so there you are, folks. So from us here at Fit to Achieve Podcast, our favourite game of all time since 2021 has been, of course, Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion.
Yep.
Then Elden Ring.
And then Brotato.
Okay, so what's the worst fucking game that's come out in that time?
The worst game?
The worst one we've played. I think this one's going to be a bit more personal to each of us.
I'm just checking the date of when this game was released, because I can't remember if I spoke about it.
I did quickly skim through like every single episode to what we talked about. Because when it comes to bad things, you try and push them out your memory, don't you? I was like,
yeah, I don't know. I can't really think of because I probably, like, if I played a bad game, I probably got rid of it. So if I look on my shelf, it's probably not there.
No. Especially with most things being digital anyway.
Yeah, I would say, like, the only, like, I wouldn't say it's a bad game. Like, it's not a bad game actually, but I think one that maybe I was a bit more disappointed, or I felt, no, not disappointed, I was underwhelmed by it, was probably the Advance Wars remake. I was a bit, like, I don't know, I expected a bit more. It's a good game, I just expected more, but it's not bad. I can't think of a bad game, because I probably didn't play something bad, or if I don't have, I can't fucking remember.
No, it's not like you go out your way to play a bad game, is it? Unless you're me and do it for fucking shit.
Yeah. I can't really think.
All right then, I'll do 2 for you to make it. So I've picked 2 because I hate them for different reasons. One is the Paw Patrol in the movie. Is anyone surprised? But then I thought, is it really the worst one though, or is it perhaps Starfield?
Yeah,
here's
that
my-
was
here's
probably
my-
one of the biggest disappointments.
Ooh.
Like,
Yeah. Here's my logic. At least I finished Paw Patrol the movie. I uninstalled Starfield only after like 6 hours.
But you also did stream Paw Patrol as well.
Did, which made it slightly more fun, I guess.
Yeah.
I just felt my soul leaving my body when I was playing Starfield. So yeah, there is probably something else that's worse, but they're the first two that jump in my mind. It's probably more recency bias with Starfield, to be honest. And it probably, if I'm hand on heart, it is Paw Patrol was the worst fucking thing I played. But again, I finished it, and I didn't finish Starfield. Brandon,
Yeah, I mean, Starfield just sucked because it just felt like Skyrim but with guns. It initially felt like Fallout Boy, but not Fallout Boy, Fallout, but just shit. Basically, that's what it felt like.
Yeah, we're not going to say that is in fact the worst game that's come out. It's just for us personally.
Just for
Like
us, from what we've played.
Yeah, anything that's got online pay to win mechanics, of course, is inherently worse. But we don't touch them with barge poles, as you damn well know. With me moaning over the years.
I mean, another one which probably does add to the list of shit games. I mean, I did play Peppa Pig as well.
Oh fuck.
I got all the fucking achievements in Peppa Pig.
I got all the achievements in Peppa Pig for like in 2 hours. I was like, I did it mainly because you did it, and I was like, oh, I want to give it a go as well.
Here's the thing with Peppa Pig, though. At least that had some variety in the levels. The Paw Patrol movie is just the same thing over and over and over and over.
Peppa Pig was the same thing over and over because there was like certain achievements where you had to complete certain events, and you had to keep replaying certain events because it just wouldn't appear. So like it took me about 4 or 5 times just to figure out how to like get the kite out of the thing. I had to keep going through the same dialogue 4 or 5 times. And there's no skip. You had to sit through the whole fucking thing.
That's why you really hate it. You got stuck on Peppa Pig and won't admit it.
I got stuck because you couldn't like get through the cutscenes. Like I've seen a cutscene once, like just terminate it. I don't want to sit through the same thing over and over again. But yeah, it's the worst game that I've finished to completion.
Fair enough. All right, let's lighten the mood a bit more then. What's been the best film that's come out?
For me, probably Violent Night.
Still haven't seen that.
I did quite like Violent Night. It's the only one that comes to mind though.
Films came out.
Or probably Suzume, actually.
I don't know. What films came out in the last couple of years that were really, really, really fucking good? I really like the Batman, but I'm a big Batman fan, so that's probably not a surprise.
That was pretty good.
That got new Godzilla -1. I don't know. Can't remember what came out.
Well, again, I was split on what I wanted to do. I was probably nearly going to go with Dungeons and Dragons, but again, that is more of a recent one, and I've talked about it not so long back.
Yeah.
But I think of all the films I've seen, it's probably going to go to No Way Home, Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, that was really good as well. Yeah, I knew there was
that was
another film.
top-notch.
I need to watch the extended on Netflix.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I think it's like an extra 20 or 30 minutes, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's a weird the Al Yankovic story. I really like that. That made me laugh a lot.
Oh, on a kind of similar note to that, there's someone I know and I hadn't seen him in ages, and he's got a mullet and he's curled his hair, and I saw him and I was like, right, weird Al Yankovic, and he was like, you know what? No one said that, but now you said it. I was like, yeah, there you go.
That's not the worst thing you can be compared to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind being called that. So I call that a compliment.
He was a good sport on it, and he's a great person. So yeah, I guess there's a few films.
Okay, what about TV shows?
The Bear, done. And Better Call Saul, there you go, done easily.
Yeah, Better Call Saul was pretty good.
The Bear and Better Call Saul. If we yeah, no, I can't. I was like, is there anything else? I was like Star Wars or Marvel, but I don't think any of them kind of hold a candle to those two, in my opinion.
No, most of them have been okay to pretty good, but not like outstandingly good.
No.
I mean, I've actually picked The Boys series 3 for like the best one.
Yeah.
But Better Call Saul is pretty much up there as well. Although I was kind of on the fence with that one a bit more because most of that came out. In fact, the first 4 series came out prior to our recording. So,
True.
Maybe I shouldn't guess that. That's why the Boys snuck in. That's still ongoing. We missed worst film. We skipped that one.
Oh, the Marvels. The Marvels, there you go. We
Yeah.
spoke about it this episode.
We did. No,
Yeah.
that was an easy one for you.
Yep.
Brandon, worst film?
I can't think. I'm trying to think what films I've actually seen this year. I've seen Suicide Squad, I've seen Birds of Prey, I've seen Violent Night, I've seen Suzume, Demon Slayer movie, which is technically not a movie.
Except for Mugen Train, the other 2 are technically not films.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that did come out when we were recording, didn't it?
That was our 3rd episode, I think.
Yeah.
Demon Slayer Hype Train.
Yeah, Demon Slayer Hype Train, yeah. Trying to think. To be honest, if I have seen a shit movie, I've probably already erased it from my mind.
Yeah.
But if I was to pick my favorite TV show this year, it would probably be the Cabinet of Curiosities. I really did enjoy that.
Oh, I still need to see that. That's on Netflix now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, Guillermo's Cabinet of Curiosities. Really, really enjoyed that.
Curse my lack of Netflix. Well, I've gone for worst film, and yeah, it's Spiral. Fuck that film. That film was god awful. That was like my worst film. Was it not last year, the year before? Oh, that film was bad. Don't watch Spiral. Awful. I watched Saw X last year, and that was good. That was in my top list. Shows you the difference. Good castmates. And yeah, for me, worst series. Again, might be because it's more recent, but I can't think of anything else I've seen that I dislike more. And I hate it. I just couldn't think of anything I like less. And that's Miss Marvel. It just went for me.
Less.
Well, pretty much every series I've watched, I've already had like some increment of wanting to see anyway. So chances are I might have liked it. I've not like started any series and just switched it off and thought that was dog shit.
Yeah.
But it just took me ages to get round to that. And even when I did, it felt like I was just slogging through it and going, yeah, it's really not for me.
I can't remember what it's called. I have spoke about it on the podcast. That would be my least favorite series or the worst series I watched. I'm looking it up on Netflix right now. Oh, that's it. The Order. That was shit. The Order. Yep, that was shit. I started watching that. I watched season 1. Or did I start watching season 1 just before we started recording the first episode of the podcast, and then I finished it soon after, and in like our early episodes, and obviously because it was shit, I didn't talk about it. I don't think I have mentioned it on an episode saying it was bad, and yeah, it's still shit. Don't watch it. No wonder it got cancelled after 2 seasons. It's shit.
Do you guys have a best or worst anime? For me, it's Cyberpunk Edge Runners because that's the only one I watched. So it's coincidentally the best and worst.
All right, let's bust open Mount. Let's have a look.
If I'm talking best, it would be probably, I think if I'm just going to say Vinland Saga. I know it came out only last year, but like it's absolutely incredible. And then worst, Platinum End. Do not watch Platinum End. It's fucking dreadful. I cannot believe it was written by the same people who did Death Note. I cannot believe it. It's awful. It's fucking dreadful. So yeah, Platinum End, worst. Vinland Saga or Chainsaw Man, or probably best. I actually finished watching Pluto this week as well. That's really good. If I did mention it a couple episodes ago, well, before the Christmas, whatever. Yeah, I finished that. That's really fucking good.
I'm just looking through some of the main ones that came out when we started. We've got 86.
86 really good. I want to rewatch that.
Ranking of Kings, Mushoku Tensei Part 2, Komi-san Can't Talk.
That's not that great, but alright.
Now I'm just going through some of the ones which are highest rated for each season. Entertainment District Arc, Final Season Part 2 of Attack on Titan, My Dress Up Darling. What else have we got on here? Just flipping through. Spring 2022, Spy Family, Kaguya Love is War. That was nice seeing that in the movies. Trying to flick through. Call of the Night, Overlord. Not really many good stuff came out actually in general since we recorded. We had Chainsaw Man, Autumn 2022. But for me, if I was to rate my favorite one, I mean, I really I'm so happy I discovered Mashley the past couple of years. Like that has been such a fun watch and a fun read.
Well, if it's like the season 2, its opening song is like one of the most viral songs of this year. It is so viral. Ridiculous how viral it is. Some of my friends have literally started watching MASH just because of that song. They never heard of it, or they don't even watch anime. Heard the song, and it's like, oh yeah, now we're watching MASH. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. But I'm just thinking. I mean, I really did like MASH. Like that was it just tickled all the right parts in my brain and made it like a real good watch. All the other stuff that came out. I mean, a bit of a hot take. The Free Rent I didn't really like that much.
Everyone got opinions.
Yeah, everyone got opinion, but If I was to rate disappointing anime, fucking Rising of the Shield Hero, that's took a nosedive. That's been awful.
Yep.
Have you seen some of the CGI in Rising of the Shield Hero?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is that? Tree? No, not Tree. That's from the classroom one, the demon one. But yeah, Rising of the Shield Hero has been like the most disappointing anime, and the one which I've been. It's not my favourite, but it's the one that's tickled all the right places for me is MASH. Right, I've got a question for you all then as well. What's been something which just took you by surprise, like something you thought was going to be crap, but actually when you consumed said media, you're like, hang on a minute, this is pretty damn good.
Oh, bloody Nora.
What a loaded question, Brandon. Fucking hell.
Oh, that's going to take some thinking.
Or while you think, how about this one then? What's something you thought was going to be good, but also turned into a disappointment? Obviously, we said about Starfield.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with Starfield.
It's going to be Wolong.
Yeah, Wolong was kind of disappointing. Yeah. Not as much as Starfield, though.
No, not as much as Starfield, but yeah, like Wolong was the one that made me feel the most crap about it. So I really wanted to like smash it in a week.
Gravy.
Final Fantasy 16. Honestly,
Final Fantasy 16.
Honestly, the more I haven't played it in like a month, but the more I play on it, the more I really enjoy it, and it just feels like a bit of a course correction for Final Fantasy for fucking ages. It's still got the feel of modern Final Fantasy, which, you know, is what it is, but it definitely feels a bit like a course correction compared to especially 15.
I'm probably, just off the top of my head, and I mentioned it earlier as a joke, we'll probably go for the one that caught me by surprise. This is Tonic Boy Commits Tax Evasion. I just want to be like some like really cheap indie like knockoff thing, and it was quite charming, and I really enjoyed it. And I'd recommend it to everyone. So yeah, I'll go for that, I guess.
Actually, for something which I thought was going to be crap but turned out quite charming as well, I might go for Vampire Survivors. I've never really been too much of a fan of bullet hells, but Vampire Survivors, I sunk a lot of time in very quickly. It's all I wanted to play for a very long time.
I think what I like about Vampire Survivors is like, I got into it and I was like, oh yeah. Then you got into it, Brandon, and you, Chris, were like, no. And then you played it more than probably both of us now. That's what I love about that game.
I could probably go for like RoboCop as well, like Rogue City, because when that was announced, I was thinking it's going to be shit, isn't it? It's like a movie tie-in thing. It's going to be awful, and it turned out to be really, really good. That was nice as well. So I guess then, guys, that leaves us with one final thing for us all, and that is, what are we planning to do now the podcast is done? Well, for now at least.
I want to get my doctorate, you know. I want to gain that title of doctor, like Dr. Moulds, like, and just be like, I'm the first person in my family to go to university, and I want to like go into like and support like research and helping people with like diseases out in the world and everything. So I want to get my doctorate and just basically advance my career, you know, contribute something positively to the medical world.
And I want you to get that doctorate, so I can refer to you as Dr. Brandon, to the tune of Dr. Zeus from The Simpsons.
Yeah,
Dr. Brandon, Dr. Brandon.
And as I said to you, Brandon, but once you get that doctorate, us two and my mate will be doing our Scotland trip finally. It'll be a nice celebration for you for that.
I'll be 35 when we climb Bent Nevers.
Well,
to be young again.
You know, Ben Nevis is just long. That's all I say. It's just long. Like.
Sorry, I can just picture that. I know, you know, you have the historical like sites, and you got like the signs there in the place. It's just at the tip of Ben Nevis. So at the base of Ben Nevis, there's just a sign that's saying Ben Nevis is long.
It's just long.
It is though. Like if you compare it to Snowdon and Scafell, they're so much harder than Ben Nevis. Ben Nevis just takes ages to do. Like that's all it is. Like,
Ben Nevis quite flat then compared to the other two? Because obviously the reason why Scafell was hard was just how vertical it was.
Yeah, and the thing is with Snowdon, depending on your route, you can have the easiest time or the hardest time. Like it just depends. But Snowdon's so versatile because there's 7 routes. But yeah, Ben Nevis, it's got 1 route, and it's not difficult. It just takes ages to do. It's like predicted 5 hours to do. So you know, up and down. It's just that's it. It just takes ages. It's like, oh, here we go. Da, 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 da. I would say it's probably like the top. Like at the There's like one section I'd probably say is the hardest section, but by the time you're there, you probably. But no, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to that, and I can't wait for. Look, I'm happy that you're gonna be doing your doctorate to be absolutely fantastic when you've done.
Yeah, mainly the reason I want to do it so I can have fucking spare time again. Because obviously it's like I'm doing it at the same time as I'm doing my full-time job. Arguably full-time job, you work 37, 40 hours a week, but that's just in terms of working time. On top of that, you've got your time you have to spend waking up, getting ready in the mornings. That could probably be like half an hour, adding on maybe commute to work an extra 15 minutes. Same thing maybe for the way home. You get home 15 minutes, then you've got to do all your stuff like sort yourself out and get cozy. So you're probably spending about 50 hours in your work life. So just imagine that 50 hours. And on top of that, I'm spending maybe 20 hours a week doing like the part-time doctorate, which over time, gradually, I have to spend more and more time sinking into it as things come up. Like recently, I've got a conference coming up in April where I'm going to go to Scotland and present my work. I've got to cram so much data by like the middle of March to get ready for this conference. And it's just like, and I've got so much teaching ongoing as well at work as well. So it just adds on so much time and pressures for everything. Yeah. I just want time back so I can play video games and watch anime.
Yes, it's a hard pill to swallow, isn't it? It's like I don't have time to play games and watch anime because I've got to talk about playing games and watching anime. What a strange predicament. It's such a first world problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it is sadly one we all share. So I'm just going to carry on working my full-time job and continuing to grow my Twitch channel, which I'm still heavily involved with and is getting bigger and bigger. I've got like record followers at the minute, so that's nice. Oh, and I've also taken up drumming as well. We bought a drum kit accidentally and I've ordered some Dave Grohl drumsticks in the hopes it will make me better at it. So I'm going to try that. I figured it would complement my workouts that I do at the weekend. A bit more arm exercise. So I do my workouts and then I hit the drums for like 45 minutes. I'm getting better. I can hit two things at the same time. I'm getting good.
Yeah, because I used to play the drums, and I was speaking to a drummer last night, and you went to me, "Oh, do you play an instrument?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I used to play the drums." And I said, "Well, I sold them a long time ago, but I still remember how to drum. Like, if I sat in front of a drum kit and someone went, go nuts, I'd know how to drum. It wouldn't. It's not left me at all."
Oh, that's the same as me and my bass guitar. Like, I was never. I was good enough to like play in bands, but I won't say I was like fantastic at all. But there are points. If I just pick up the bass, I can probably bang out some Rage Against the Machine at a drop of a hat. So your muscle memory just takes over. It's like I know how to play this.
Like even in my new job, I was moved to a different machine for a while because of some technical issues, and then I went back to my machine. And I was like, "Do I know what I'm doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't." Why do I think I don't know what I'm doing? I do know what I'm doing. So, anything else, Chris?
No, I just plan to, stay alive and be great and play games and then call Bobby Kotick a twat.
So standard.
Pretty much my bag. Yeah, standard, really. I'm not going to do anything else.
And myself, well, like my new job's going really well. I don't like talking about work on social media or on the internet just because, you never know if it will come back on you.
No, you don't want to dox yourself.
Yeah, but I know I'm just saying something good. But yeah, my job's going really well.
I remember when we first started this podcast, it was like, oh yeah, call me Spanky on this, and that didn't fucking last.
Yeah, well.
It's fine. People can know my name.
Yeah. So I'm turning 30 next month in March, and I'm going to Japan for 2.5 weeks. So it's a trip of a lifetime. I cannot fucking wait. Literally today, someone from my trip has made a WhatsApp group with, right now there's only 4 of us out of 16 people, actually technically 17, including myself. So, but the other 13 people, we haven't met, haven't met except for one person. I've not met any of them, but I don't think they're aware of like the little Facebook group. And one of them's the group leader, so nearer the time they'll message and then we can add them in. But already with these other 2 people, just talking about the trip, and it's making me even more excited. Like all I've got to do now is just get spending money. I've paid for the trip, got my insurance, done everything. Of course, sorted the flights out ages and ages ago. It's all sorted, just spending money and then getting myself there, and I cannot wait. I will be posting quite a lot of pictures of it on my social media, so if you follow me on social media, you'll see my escapades in Japan as I turn 30 years old, and I'll just be, if you're interested in my life, just follow me on Instagram, and there
But
you
not
go.
in real life.
Yeah, please don't. I don't want a stalker.
I
Yeah.
don't want another one.
On Insta, you'll see me probably talk about posting whatever I fucking like. I put, like, when I got all my Berserk volumes, I put them all out. That was one of my last posts. Yeah, I'll probably do the odd anime stuff on there, music, whatever. It's what I randomly like. I've been getting back into painting Warhammer recently, so that's something I've been doing. 'Cause I didn't paint anything last year, and I was a bit annoyed over that. Part of that was me just being like, I've got no time, and just choosing not to do it when I could have easily, like, made time to do it. It's the same with everything. I didn't compromise, and I chose not to do it. But I've been painting a lot more this year, and it's got me a bit more into it, and it's been good. You know, I'll just be living how I normally live, really. Yeah, like I said, my big thing is my Japan holiday. But I'm doing the Three Peaks again in August as well. But it's not going to be. I'm not going to be as intensely training this time, because it's not going to be as intense. Because especially the Snowdon route, it's going to be the easy route up and down, which I'm a bit pained to know about. But
what did you want to do?
I would have preferred to do a different one, but I'm not the one organising it, so that's just what it is. It's fine. It would be a nice little weekend away. I've already booked it off work. It's funny because I literally that week have a 2-day work week, and then I'm off again, because it's August bank holiday. I work Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I'm off to do the Three Peaks. No, life's good, and we all have things that happen that we don't like, but there's enough good in the world to get through those things. And it's probably not by the time I've edited it, but as time recording, it says we've been recording for an hour and a half. But I've known these two guys for 10 years. I'm hoping I know them until the day I die. Like, these two guys are two of my best friends. Like, I'm sure it's obvious, because like I said, we've been recording for an hour and a half. We're not ending this podcast because I don't like either of these two people.
There's no bad blood or anything.
Like, I'm sure that's obvious, but I do need to say it anyway.
Which is amazing with all the shit I come out.
Oh, I'm sure there's things in our mind we're like, oh, for fuck's sake. But that's the same with like everyone. I'm sure everyone's got friends that say stuff, and you're just like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Well, cheers, guys, for putting up with my bullshit for this amount of time.
Egg. Dan's lasagna.
Fucking hell. Every time I eat lasagna, I'll never forget that. I'm like, oh, fuck, I need to eat it carefully. Fuck's sake.
Eat it carefully. You don't want to pass out.
Yep. So we might record the odd special podcast if Dan doesn't get assaulted by lasagna in the meantime.
Or I'll still be lurking in Chris's Twitch chat every now and then, and
I suppose then that this is like the last time we can plug our Twitch channels, Brandon.
Make sure you follow Spanky Rambles on Twitch and follow Bucket on Twitch, where we will stream our usual bunch of goodies and our variety streaming nonsense.
Indeed, and challenge run bullshit, and
challenge run bullshits,
and Terraria, I guess.
We just finished a challenge run last night, actually.
Hey,
start a new one.
Woohoo! Could I sound any more confused?
I'm confused as well.
So yes, thank you everyone for listening, and I want to leave you all listening on a question, and that is, what's been your favourite media that you've ingested since we've been recording? And whatever it is, I won't be able to hear you because that's not how podcasts work, so you're wasting your time. But it's nice that you're having nice thoughts, and that's what counts.
Yeah, let us know on the socials. We'll still check socials.
I'm
sure we will.
So, carry on, Chris.
I was about to say, so guys, for one last time, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me. But I have one thing left to say. Victory achieved.
Yeah.
Yes, may you achieve victory.
Thank you to everyone who's listened to our podcast over these past years. All 72 episodes, now 73. All three of us really appreciate it. We appreciate the Retro Smash podcast boys as well. They're a great bunch of lads. You should check them out. Just thank you, and victory achieved.